You got to look at the mid-level free agents. They got a Wilson Chandler type player who's not a star, but definitely can fill a role on a contending team and sell your pitch to him. I mean, you got to be creative in the free agent market. I think that's the best way to build right
So what
now.
other free agents are out there?
I don't know. I mean,
He's probably one of the better big men out there.
I think a lot of the Knicks guys. I think Gallinari's out of it is going to be available. I've seen Wilson Chandler's as a possibility. There's a lot of guys. I think even the Heat have a few people that they might tweak. I mean, like Mike Bibby could be available. I'm not sure how much he helps you, but there's a few guys here and there.
Everybody's looking at the next year. Like you were saying,
2012.
The Knicks would be one of those teams that definitely are looking at Chris Paul. We've heard those rumors.
Yeah.
Dwight Howard, I don't know if that works, but I mean Chris Paul would be.
Yeah, they don't need a Dwight Howard.
Oh, absolutely.
They have Stoudemire. So
if you get Chris Paul plugged in there, now you've got a big three.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that'd be.
But it's still the support. I mean, I think you still need that support in that front court. So you can have the big three, but you still need the support because the Celtics giving away Perkins when they won their championship, they had the front court.
Right.
And they were big in the front court. And the Bulls, they kept three centers. And so their front court, as much as they had the supporting, their spot-up shooters, certainly Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, but they always had their role players.
Right.
And the role players in all six of their championships was the key. And when you look at the Lakers, I mean, it was the role players that really helped them. I mean, hell, you can go back and get Ariza. And certainly, I mean, that would have been a better option to go back and get Ariza. I mean, he didn't, it was a mistake. He admitted the mistake of leaving the Lakers, but something, that him coming back. What about coaching the Lakers? Because I had thought about that, and I'm ADD, so I just kicked in, so I just said it because I thought about it. So what are we looking at for coaching options? Phil Jackson, who's on the access ban? He's on the access ban, certainly.
Yeah.
Well, I think Rob really likes Mike Dunleavy. Isn't that what you were saying last night?
I guess it's an option. I don't know why. Maybe that's just
I have no idea why Mike Dunleavy's on
He might have some friends in the front office still who said, "Yeah, we'll put your name out there," but I don't see him happening. And Brian Shaw is a possibility.
No. It's Kobe, player coach time.
I mean, Coach K. So
they'll throw a ton of money at him. I don't think he leaves, but that would be very interesting. I think he's the kind of guy that could have that enough. You need someone with some gravitas to be able to handle Gasol and Kobe Bryant. So,
word of the day.
Thank you. Rick Adelman is a guy I like. He's going to get his interview shot here next week. I think he's a guy that can handle a veteran team. He runs a similar offense. His teams play good defense. That's something that the Lakers definitely need to address. So.
I mean, that's everything for them is the inside-outside.
But he's due only because of the Lakers. Because the Lakers, he couldn't win the championship.
No, Adelman has had a lot of success in the league for sure.
Yeah. So you say Adelman. So what's next for Phil Jackson?
He's on a motorcycle headed to Montana, where he'll probably be for a while. I think he'll pop up here and there, interviews and things like that. I don't think he coaches again. I think he's old. He looks pretty beat up. He looks like he's been playing. He's got two bad hips. I think the travel was just too much for him, so I don't see him coming back.
I don't think we'll hear from Phil again. I think he's gone off to his ranch, happy, satisfied, away from the spotlight. He's put in his time, been successful.
Oh, absolutely.
He's done.
He could write a book like ripping all of these players.
He could. He could write a book about this season.
And he's got Genie Bus, so he's. Don't cry for Phil Jackson.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. I mean, Phil is. It's the reason that I've probably been drawn to the Lakers as much as anything else is because of Kobe and Phil. For the record, yes, I am a Kobe Bryant fan. I just have been. And everybody talks about he had his own locker room. He sold out Shaq, talked about Shaq's infidelities to cover up his own, talk about his personality. But when you look at somebody that is a leader on the court, when you look at his leadership in practice, when you look at his leadership with his teammates, and he's grown and developed in that role. I mean, you're talking about a kid that came out of high school into the NBA, 18-year-old kid. And so I think that sometimes we have an unrealistic expectation about the growth process of athletes and the maturing process of athletes. A lot of athletes never mature into being able to be a coach and supporting role for the head coach. And as you talked about the alpha male, when you look at that, I mean, that role is one that he's accepted, and I think he's done a great job in that role. How much more does he have in the tank? How many more years do we get out of Kobe? this whole bone-on-bone crap, I'm tired of that. He's not bone-on-bone.
Right.
You couldn't walk and you couldn't, I mean, I've got knee issues. There's no way in hell you're doing bone-on-bone.
Right.
I mean, that's just not possible.
I think Brandon Roy in
Without
Portland
really
is
good
closer to
drugs.
that injury where bone on bone, he just does. He looks like a shell of himself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Kobe, we
Can't
saw,
get up.
even though he struggled from time to time, those 2 dunks against the Hornets.
Man,
I
put
mean,
up
he can
30s.
still-
I mean, he's still in the 30s, putting up 33-point games.
yeah.
Kobe's a guy I can't write off. I mean, I just it wouldn't surprise me to see him still at an All-NBA level for the next 4 years. It really would. I mean, his will, his determination,
Yeah.
he's in phenomenal shape. I mean, he works harder than any player in the league, even though he's got less to prove than any player in the league. I will not underestimate what Kobe Bryant can do on the basketball court. He's phenomenal.
And he's not why they lost to
No.
Dallas. I don't
Oh,
think
no.
anybody would say that.
Right.
No.
It was a variety of factors, like Pau Gasol and Pau Gasol.
Pau Gasol.
It's a little bit Derek Fisher thrown in.
I mean, yeah. And a little Derek Fisher,
But
but
Kobe looked great, really, in the postseason still, so I wouldn't.
I think he plays a few more years, and then I think we look at. I think he's 5th, 6th on the all-time scoring list. So we
Right.
see. I think that his drive to be the best. I think when
he
he
getting
gets up,
close?
he'll pass Shaq next year.
Yeah.
For
He's gonna like
5th.
that.
So he's gonna like that. And then I think as he gets closer, he might just say, "Screw it, I'll play 2 more years." Can average 15 a game in those last couple of years and get that scoring
I think
title.
he wants those titles, though.
He does.
He does.
I think he wants a ring more than a
he
scoring
wants to-
title.
yeah, I think-
Absolutely, but I think what the Lakers will continue, they're one of those teams along with Boston and New York. Free agents want to come there. Free agents want
Right.
to play there. They want to play with Kobe. They want to play with the other guys. So,
and they just want to be in New York City.
In the big
right,
city,
and it's
right.
just nice to be in a big media market. You saw that's why Carmelo left, and that's why Stoudemire
But
wouldn't.
New
want
York
to
sucks, though.
Phoenix.
I mean, New York hadn't won a championship in 100 years.
They haven't, but
Yeah.
it's, I
I
think
mean,
it's
Steve,
the,
I mean, unless you want to go to a Yankees game, unless you want to hang out with Jay-Z at the 40-40 Club.
I think that's part
got
of it.
the glamour, though.
It's got glamour,
Yeah, and,
I think-
the most beautiful women in the world. I'll be there in a couple weeks. New York women, I'm coming.
No, but I think they part of it too is a lot of players have that ego where they think I'm the missing piece. Carmelo and Stoudemire are doing well, but Chris Paul, I'm sure, is thinking when I get there,
That'll
it'll
be
be
it.
New
different.
York hasn't been good.
I can be that guy. I can be that
Oh,
guy, that Walt
absolutely.
Frazier
Yeah.
type that
Oh,
wins the championship
absolutely.
for New York, and that's what you want is that the
Hobbling
love
on
of
the
an
court.
entire city.
Yeah.
Hobbling on the court.
Yeah.
What would David West do if Chris Paul exits?
David West.
I think David West would probably have to. I think he would probably be looking to go too. I think that the Hornets team is a mess anyway.
Yeah,
He's
it
a
is.
free agent this year.
Yeah.
He's restricted this year, and it's a shame for him because he blew out his knee
Right.
2 months before he could have cashed in. But I think, don't you think the Hornets will probably pick his option up?
I would
just
imagine.
for 1 year.
Hornets would like to keep him, but I don't see another
I don't
team
know
making
what
a
happens,
huge
though.
offer
Yeah.
so that they can't afford to keep him. I think he stays there.
I don't
but
know. I mean, David West had one hell of a year prior to his injury.
He did.
It just depends on a team that wants in an uncertain labor.
Yeah,
how much money you wanna
how much
throw at
do
a
you
guy.
throw at a
Yeah,
guy
that's
that may not be ready to go.
And he may just sign for a year to see what Chris Paul does next summer.
Right.
If,
That would
you
be
know,
smart.
he doesn't want to commit to 5 years if Chris Paul's not going to be there
No,
for
because
4 of
then
them.
you're on an island.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you're on an island by yourself.
Just you and Marco Bellinelli.
So David West,
That'd be
overachiever in the NBA career.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
he was a great player in college, obviously, but he's probably a little shorter than he's listed,
Yeah.
and he's I mean, really, he's been great.
Yeah, he's a solid. You know, you can
Two-time
count on him. You know what
All-Star.
you're going to get every night. He's, you know, a professional in the locker room by all accounts. He's a good teammate. People enjoy playing with him, and you know, is he a superstar? No, but
Yeah.
you know, a lot of people
Close.
take his career. I think
Oh yeah,
Big X
absolutely.
tattoo.
he does.
So I mean, I looked at it, and it just seems like and this year was another solid year performance for him. And I looked at that and I was like, wow, you know, I coming out of college, because sometimes having local players, we don't necessarily give them as much respect as they're needed locally. And so I think that David West for me was an overachiever, and you know, he looks like he can, before the injury was going to have a solid year.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think 17 and 10 somewhere in that range he was averaging. So he's definitely a good player.
The next local product, Jordan Crawford.
Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. Jordan Crawford is.
I'm
wow.
hyping him up. He looks so
Yeah.
good the last 2 months of the season.
Yes, and in the playoffs, solid. I mean,
I doubted him, and I've been eating crow all year. I told Ben I didn't think he was, a 6'4" shooting guard, a volume shooter. So he won't be that good. And Ben has let me hear about that all season.
I'm gonna get a jersey. You seen those new Wizards jerseys? The new logo.
Oh,
Red,
man.
white. They're going back to the Bullets colors, but they're still called the Wizards. So they got the red, white.
Are they going back to the Bullets colors?
Yeah, the red, white, and
it's like
blue. They got the old
retro.
logo. It looks good. A lot better than last year.
Jersey.
But
So
along
you
with
think
that,
you'll ever get into the playoffs?
He and John Wall in the backcourt's
I
pretty
think
good
so.
start.
Yeah.
They're a couple
Absolutely.
years away, though. I think they need JaVale McGee and Andre Blatchett to mature a little bit, play more.
Or maybe
of a
Andre
rounded
Blatch
game.
to get traded.
Yeah, that might need to happen too. But they're they're a couple years away. I think 3-4 years away, maybe.
I like that team.
You have to
Yeah.
build so much, though. I mean, but,
Right.
I mean that's a good place. I mean, the backcourt, but I still think the focus in the NBA is front court.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely front
Point
court.
guard and front court.
Point
Yeah,
guard and
you
front court.
need a big guy. Yeah, you can't just have a hole down there.
You have to have many bigs. You just
Right.
can't have one or two bigs. I mean, you really have to have a few bigs.
Right.
You have to have those. You have to be able to rotate those big guys.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, yeah.
And those guys are harder to find nowadays. It's a lot of
Yeah.
there's a lot more Eric Dampiers than there are Dwight
Yes.
Howards out there. So
And there's a lot of those hybrids, those
Yeah.
3 to 4s.
Guys who are 6'11" who play out on the perimeter
Absolutely,
now.
exactly.
Big guys always want to work on their 3-pointers.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, you look at Nowitzki. I mean, you look at Bynum spends probably too much time out there shooting, wanting to shoot, but he's bringing the ball up the court because I think that part of it is that the whole move toward basketball and basketball is athleticism, and it's having the ability to be a 2, that everybody wants to be between a 1 and a 2, have the dribbling skills,
Yeah.
the vision of a 1, but also the shooting skills of a 2.
Right.
So I think they're teaching that at all levels. And, a couple of my nephews, one is 6'7", he's a sophomore, and I mean, he shoots 1,000 shots a day. And in high school in Cincinnati, they have you at a 4 or 5 at 6'7".
Yeah,
And he's, I know that I have to be a 2-3 at some point.
Where's he going?
Withrow.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I mean, he has to be at some point. He's going to have to be, he has to be, and he knows that. So all he works on is dribbling, strength conditioning, and he shoots 1,000 shots every day. And so back to your point is that everyone has to be able to. You have to be able to pull that trigger, and I think that's becoming more and more important. The day of having, the Dwight Howards of the world. I mean, you have a couple. Randolph. What is Randolph? 6'10".
yeah, 6'10".
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a 6'10".
6'10".
But he's a big body, and he's got a lot of control down there. But that's changing. Do you follow college basketball?
oh, absolutely.
Okay, so what are your college thoughts of Brandon Knight coming out of UK? I mean, what do you think Brandon is going to do in the NBA?
I think he's going to be good. I don't know that he'll get to that elite level with the Chris Pauls and Derrick Roses, but he's a smart kid. He's got a high basketball IQ. He still definitely needs a lot of polish. I watched UK a lot last year. I'm a UK grad. He goes right 90% of the time. He needs to develop a left hand. He needs to develop that pass mentality as he looks for his own shot a long time. I don't think that he's selfish, but I think he trusts himself more than he trusts his teammates sometimes. And that's obviously going to need to change at the next level. He's going to have better teammates. But I think he can definitely be a solid player. I think he's a guy who, you can plug in. We've seen a point guard can make a team better instantly. We've seen what the Bulls have done around Rose and things like that. So, I think he's going to be probably a top 7, top 8 pick in the draft. And if he lands in the right situation, he could end up being a really good player.
So Jason, you've ruined my show,
I'm sorry.
and you know how you ruined my show.
By being a UK grad?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
I hate UK. You know why I hate
Ouch.
UK?
I knew I should have sat over there.
It's the fans, isn't it?
Yes.
The fans are terrible.
That's why I hate UK.
Oh, we're so bad.
I had friends of mine that played football at UK. First of all, I didn't even know they played football at UK. I'm like, is that like a Potter Puff League?
It's relative to that,
I
yeah.
was like, they're in the SEC. They play with the Securities and Exchange
Oh,
Commission.
man.
That's the only football league they're in the SEC.
Oh, they're so bad.
But yeah, it's the fans, man. It's UK fans.
Oh, we're the worst. I won't argue that.
Calipari Nation. I saw a T-shirt that said Calipari Nation. I just wanted to burn them.
I'm not a Calipari guy. I'll say that on the
No, the
record.
person. Of course. What the hell, man?
I'm not a
Person.
Calipari guy at all. So if that puts me back on good ground with you. All right,
That's
there we
what's
go.
up. Yeah. Thank you. I'm just glad you didn't wear anything UK. I would have told you have to check that at the door. We hail UC and Ohio State are my college teams. So in college, what do we think about, and why do we think that you see these Final Fours, these bastard Final Fours, and you see these teams popping up? East Tougaloo State University will be in the Final Four next year. community colleges will be in the Final Four. I mean, what do we think contributes to this parity that we see in college basketball?
I think we've talked about it. Is the